Hi. Well, today I'm at Peel Parkrun, which is a parkrun I used to do on a regular basis. Used to help out quite a lot as well. So I thought I'd do a video to see what it's like here. And we're about to kick off. So once they head off, I will tell you all about the course. Right. This is the start of the Peel Parkrun. This is where it actually starts. I mean, people will be turning back out here because when you've got like 500 people, it goes back a long way. This is where we go. So, let's hit it. It's about, I don't know, a couple of 100 meters to the first corner. One of the problems you've got here is when you've got 500 people, it's quite narrow, this section. So you'll have people sort of running on the grass either side, which isn't great, but it is what it is. That's the path where you end the Peel Parkrun lap, and we'll come on to that in a minute. Now, the issue here, it's still very narrow, and it's still going to be very congested. Now, at the very start, this is a deceptively steep hill. It's not very big, it doesn't look very big. But when all 500 people of you are crowding into this really narrow area, and then you've got a really sharp turn to the left, this is where you've really got to be careful about bumping into people and tripping up. That's a very dangerous part of the course. And then you've got that speed bump, which doesn't help. But that's as near as you get to a hill on this course. Anyway, this is where the laps change. So lap 2 goes that way. We'll follow lap 1. That goes down slight slope onto the River Irwell. This section of the route, it's about 1 kilometre long, so you've got about 1 kilometre running alongside the river. Now, be careful of the pigeons and the geese. The other thing to bear in mind about this section of the course is in potentially bad weather, you'll get a bit of tree fall on the left-hand side, so just be wary also of branches falling down and bits of tree. The other thing to be wary of, you'll notice, there is no barrier between the road and the river. So you don't want to fall in, just be wary of that. It is a very wide path, so you shouldn't have a problem. And at this point, you'll see there's a tree. And at this point, the path is starting to even out a bit, so you should find that this is where you start being able to run without bumping into people. But just be wary that is the Irwell, and the Irwell, it's not the cleanest river in Britain. You'll probably see at this point, when you come to run it, there'll be a lot of volunteers here. I'm cheering you on. It's a couple of 100 metres between the bridges, and it's about 400 metres from this bridge to the end of the river section. It's not the most exciting part of the journey. There is the path that lap 2 takes. We'll come on to that in a minute. Right, this is the other little bit of the hill on the course, and it's also one of the 2 reasons why I don't do this course barefoot. You've got a very narrow gravelly, stony path goes up. It's not a very big hill. It is quite narrow, but by this stage the pack has probably filtered out enough so that it's never too much of a problem. You may get a couple of people jostling you, but it shouldn't be anything major. Then you come up here, and this is where lap 2 rejoins. So from here on in, it's the same on both laps. And you go from concrete slabs to gravel to mud. This bit gets very, very muddy at times, especially that little dip there. And the other thing to bear in mind about this section is these are council football fields. They don't like you going on them. So it says please keep off the pitches. So you basically have to keep, you can't really see them so much in the taking down the goal, but you can see there they are. So you keep as close into this woodland as you possibly can. This will also get quite muddy, and there'll be marshals just to guide you in case you put a foot wrong, shall we say. That's the extent of the grass section. We're now on to university campus roads, essentially. You turn left, and this bit is, well, it's the bit in front of us, it's very slightly downhill. This is not a hilly course by any means. In fact, it's one of the flattest I've been on. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't pay attention to the underlying texture of the terrain and topography. This section is less than 200 metres, but this also gets very muddy at times. There's actually 2 bits where you really see the pools that probably never actually dissipate even in good weather. It's kind of compacted mud and stone. But a lot of people will run on the grass. See, this is the first muddy section. Ugh. And this bit gets really, really muddy. To the extent that I'm not going to walk on it.
This final section is the other reason why I don't do this course barefoot, because although it's very, very, very short, it's also a very knobbly section of track that really hurts. Anyway, you get to here and then do a sharp left. This is a straight flat section, about 190 metres, till it curves to the right, past the uni.
This is where you can kick down and sprint a bit. You've got a slight downhill. And over there, start and the finish. So you're only about 400 metres from home. Sharp turn left. again is one of the points where you'll probably see volunteers cheering you on, because the finish line is literally there. But we're not quite there yet. And this is where your lap ends. So if you're coming in on lap 1, you now turn right to start your second lap. If you're on your second lap, you turn left and go to the finish line, which is what we'll do now. It's basically retracing your steps from the start. Finish. Down the finish straight.
Oh, come on!
And then the barcode scanners and the tag distributors at the end of this funnel. Right there. Now, lap 2, instead of going down there along the river, you go along an embankment that is about the same length. It's about a kilometre, but it's, well, slightly different, as you'll see. You might see people when you're on this path running there, on either find you or in front of you. This section does look a little narrow, but of course at this point you're like well into the second lap. So the field is very well spread out at this point, even with 500 people. Again, the gaps between the bridges are a couple of 100 metres between the first 2 bridges and about 400 between the second bridge and the end of the path. You can see it follows the river, so it's pretty much the same as lap 1, it's just slightly higher up, with less danger of falling in. Unlike, say, for example, Queen's Parkrun in Glasgow, you don't tend to get too much tree fall on this section. So it's quite a comfortable ride. This is the end of the separate bit for 2 laps. That's where you're coming from lap 1. And that's where you go on lap 2. Simples. So that was a run through of Peel Parkrun. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it useful. I hope to see you here soon. Bye for now.